The next step is to search for investors. And you want to do this concurrently, and which means you do it in parallel. You actually approach a lot of investors at once. So don't do it one at a time. Do it concurrently and expect to spend a lot of time on it. Full time, definitely more than just a part time. I just hope, because looking for investors take a lot of effort. Start looking for investors from those that are not so important to those that are more important. Why do I say that? This is when you get to learn. It's actually a learning process. If you're doing this for the first time, or even if you're not doing this for the first time. So you approach those investors which you don't really want them to invest in a way to learn. They become your guinea pigs. That's where you give yourself more room to fail. I give you an example. If you were to approach the more important investors first, and you were ill prepared, you didn't manage to answer the questions that usually investors ask, you missed certain information on your slide, there's no second chance. Remember, they already rejected you. So you missed that chance with the investors that you really want. So that's why I always start with those investors that you are willing to fail. Then move forward as you learn along. Then when you get to pitch to the most important investor, that's when you're most prepared. First, to approach investors, approach them through your networks, meaning through recommendations or through introduction. That's always the best way to do that, because that way it's easier for you to approach somebody and it's easier to get a meeting that way, because the investors trust the person who are introducing you. I know the problem with this is that it may take a long while because you're depending on another person to do the introduction for you. Also, you may not have enough people in your network to introduce you to these investors. This is always the first choice if you have this choice. Otherwise, the second choice is to cold call or to email them. You can also use LinkedIn. That's the other way to do it. Now, if you have any advisors, you could ask your advisors to introduce you to these potential investors, or you could ask the permission for your advisors to put their name in these calls or emails that you sent to these investors. I'm assuming that your advisor is someone well known or which has a high profile, which could compel these investors to reply your email or to want to meet you. And remember to make sure that you get personal in your approach. No mass emailing. Know their name, know what they do, know the industry that they're in, their investee, and a lot more. Even try to know their hobbies or their interests. That way, you will craft a special email to each and every one of them, not a template-based email. Make it personal. Remember that. Anyhow, there are not a lot of investors or VCs that you could send out to. It's not like you can send to thousands of investors at once using a mass mailing software. There should be just about a handful of these people out there. So use your effort to be more personal.